Hi everyone, welcome. Great to see you today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the healing journey. And what do I mean by the healing journey? Well, this is how I explain it. And I've started explaining it to clients when they come for their initial consultations with me now, so that they know what to expect. But I did put this together when I started my work on imposter syndrome. So this video is actually done in conjunction with the imposter syndrome video, but I think it's really important, especially for imposters, particularly to understand where they are on that healing journey and where they perhaps need to think about being and what that actually takes. And I think it's also helpful for therapists to understand where I believe they need to be operating from on their own healing journey. And most therapists have been on a healing journey of their own. Like me, many people became therapists because of the sheer positive experience that they've had with their own therapy. So this isn't about me telling people how to do things. This is just my view. I'm sharing a different perspective, and I hope you find it interesting and informative. So I'm just going to share a screen with you now. There we go. It's a pyramid. There we go. A nice little pyramid. And this is what I call the healing journey to self-transcendence. Okay, so Maslow, you may have heard of Maslow, may not have done, but a guy called Maslow developed a hierarchy of needs. And his hierarchy of needs was very much based on psychological development. This one's more about healing development. But psychological development forms part of that. So his pyramid was based on the premise that once you got certain needs met, you could then go on and think about other things. So, for example, at the very bottom, at the base of his pyramid was all your physiological needs, so food, warmth, shelter, and all of that. And once you felt safe and secure, then you could start thinking about love and relationships. And once you built that sense of belonging, you would move on to esteem and career and ego-based needs, and then move to self-actualization. And in his in his unpublished but written note sometime later, they discovered his work on self-transcendence. So we will talk about that in a moment. So let's have a look at this healing journey then. I think when most clients come to see a therapist, they want to get to that point in the middle of self-regulation. So that may mean learning to manage their imposter, learning to manage their anxiety, learning to live despite having tendencies to low mood, and learning how to manage those conditions. They may have, they may be bipolar, and they may have a lot of anxiety or ups and downs about that. It's about managing the ups and downs. And part of that is medication and a multidisciplined approach, not just using therapists like myself, but their GPs and their specialists and their psychologists as well in conjunction. It's whatever helps you to get to self-regulation. But there's a couple of steps underneath that. Self-understanding. So when someone works with a solution-focused therapist, or with any therapist, but certainly I can only speak from a solution-focused viewpoint, all of our questions are designed to help you to understand yourself. Because when you understand yourself and understand why you feel the way you do, you then become more self-aware. Now, self-awareness is quite a gift, and many of us struggle to get there sometimes because we're so wrapped up in the problem, we're not aware of how we're coming across to other people. So self-awareness is a real gift, because when you're in self-awareness, it gives you that opportunity to make a conscious choice. I think when you're not in self-awareness, you are the slave to subconscious responses that you've always conditioned yourself to do to keep you safe, like phobic reactions, or even anger and things like that. Just shooting straight to anger is a great sign of a subconscious response. Yeah, so when you get to that self-awareness, you can then make conscious choices. And conscious choices, when you start practicing them and getting into that thinking part of the brain, the logical part of the brain more often than you're spending in your emotional part of your brain, your chimp, you can start to self-regulate. And most of us are quite happy with self-regulation, management, and all of those things. That's fine. But then some of us would like to take it further than that. Self-mastery. I'm setting up some workshops on self-mastery later in the year. Self-mastery, what do I mean by that? Well, that's when you have a really heightened awareness of your impact, and you are able to understand exactly how your actions are going to be met by others. So you're not responding from a place of emotional logic. And yes, for sure, things might irritate you, frustrate you, and annoy you, but you are able to be a master of yourself. You don't let them get to you. You don't let them spoil your day. You don't let them affect your decisions in life. You are your own person at this point. You are your own person. And believe me, self-mastery is a very attractive asset to have. People, you have when you are here, you have a magnetic personality, and people are drawn to a magnetic personality when you are the master of yourself. And it doesn't mean you're held really tight in a corset or a closet, not being able to be yourself. You are quite comfortable with being yourself and quite comfortable with standing up and being counted. You have great confidence when you are a master of yourself. You're not supremely confident, not arrogant, but you have supreme confidence in your own ability. And we may see clients, or I may see clients who want to get into this space, particularly around sports performance and performance-related things that they want to do. They've got self-regulation in tons. You know, they can train, they can eat the right food, they can do all the right things, but there is something lacking in their self-awareness and the way they're going about stuff that is preventing them from reaching that peak of performance and maintaining that peak of performance and maintaining the mindset that's required, the flexibility of mindset, being very flexible, very open, and very quick to be able to adapt to new situations and things. That's what I call self-mastery. Then we come into self-actualization. And this is where you are really comfortable, thriving, successful in your own right. All of your needs have been met. And Maslow described this as the highest level of psychological development that a human being can attain. So this is really thriving. And as humans, we're not going to be here all the time. There are going to be times when you dip down into self-regulation and you know how to get yourself back up to self-actualization. So you can oscillate between them, depending on your mood, what's going on in your life, and all those sorts of things. But basically, you know what that means and you know what that feels like. And then talking about self-transcendence, I think this is a really important one, and really important one for therapists out there. And this is why people become therapists, because self-transcendence is about when you're more interested in connection, making connection with others, helping others, supporting others. All the ego needs have been met, which means it's not all about you. It's about how you can stand by another person and help them to develop the self-awareness to fix their own problems. Now, if you like to go in and roll your sleeves up and fix other people's problems, that's not about them. Sorry, don't mean to trigger anyone, trigger alert. But if you're doing that, unless they're a really, really vulnerable person, that's not self-transcendence. There is some element in your ego that wants to feel good about what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It has its place, absolutely. But what I will say is this: if you really, really want to help other people, you need to empower. And I've done videos before on empowerment versus enablement. You need to empower them to make their own decisions and find their own solutions, not tell them what to do and do it for them. So in this self-transcendent space, that's where you are empowering other people and supporting them to seek the answers that they need to help themselves. So this isn't designed to be preachy or anything like that, but what the important thing to get across here is that self-transcendent space is totally about the other person and not about you. So when you've got your therapist head on, if you are a therapist, that's where you are generally, isn't it? If you think about it. And it's just be interesting to know where you feel you are on your healing journey. The important thing I will say is if you're seeking therapy, most people come to see a hypnotherapist with a misapprehension, really, that the trance element of clinical hypnotherapy, the hypnosis bit, the magic bit, is actually going to give you self-regulation. And the important point I need you to take out from this is it is not going to give you self-regulation. It is not going to stop you eating chocolate. It's not going to stop you eating too much. It's not going to stop you giving up drugs or alcohol or any other substance. It's not going to stop your anger. What's going to stop it is the other two stages. The discussion we have is equally as important as the trance, because the discussion is how you understand yourself, what's motivating you to do what you're doing, and what you can consciously choose to do instead to bring that self-awareness in. There is no shortcut. And yes, I know there might be people screaming at this video saying, well, what about the stage hypnotists and people spend tens of thousands of pounds and they've been successful? I can tell you stories about that. Yes, they have been successful in making people stop overeating or stop eating chocolate. But the problem with it is it's a temporary fix. It doesn't last. It lasts about 2 or 3 months and then they're back to it because they haven't been on that journey. And those two elements of self-understanding and self-awareness, without those, you cannot self-regulate. And it is really as simple as that. Trance, the reason we use trance is because it turbo boosts. It turbo boosts the way things get cemented within our minds and the way they work, and it helps with the neuroplasticity and building new neural networks very, very quickly, so we can learn to do new things and do things in a better and more courageous way much quicker. So that's the benefit of trance. The process can be quicker for some people, not everyone, because everyone's on a different journey, but it's not a fix in and of itself. So I hope that's been beneficial and helpful. As always, my darlings, take very good care of yourself out there, and I shall look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, and bye for now.